Have you been seeing 111, 777, or your lucky numbers everywhere as if the universe is trying to tell you something? There are moments in life when the world seems to conspire in ways that cannot be explained by logic. It's as if things start to align, forming patterns and synchronicities that feel too precise to be mere coincidence. These are not random occurrences, they are signs of something deeper at work, a confirmation that the assumptions you have made are beginning to manifest in physical reality. One of the most powerful signs that your desires are on their way is the appearance of repeating numbers and synchronicities. These are the moments when the universe seems to be giving you a signal, a gentle nudge, reminding you that you are on the right path. When you start noticing numbers repeating in your environment, whether it's 111, 777, or sequences that feel particularly meaningful to you, understand that this is not by chance. Numbers are more than mathematical symbols. They are symbols that hold meaning and convey messages. In the context of manifestation, they act as a confirmation that your assumptions are moving closer to materializing. They are the universe's way of speaking directly to you, a language that transcends the ordinary and speaks to the deeper parts of your consciousness. As you continue on your journey of manifestation, you will notice these signs appearing in unexpected ways. Perhaps you will see the same number on a license plate, or notice a repeating sequence in the time of day. You might find yourself picking up your phone at exactly 11:11, or seeing the same series of numbers on billboards, receipts, or even in the pages of books. These moments are not random. They are the subtle ways in which the universe mirrors your thoughts and assumptions. It's as if the universe is saying, you are on the right track, keep moving forward. But what do these repeating numbers truly represent? More than just a coincidence. They are a sign that your inner assumptions are beginning to crystallize into external form. When you see a number like 111, it is often a reminder that you are in alignment with your thoughts and feelings, that the universe is responding to your state of consciousness. It is a call to pay attention to your thoughts, for they are creating the very reality you are experiencing. The number 111 signifies a moment of clarity, a time to focus your attention on your desires and intentions. It is a sign that your thoughts are in harmony with the life you wish to create. Similarly, the number 777 is considered a powerful sign of spiritual alignment. When you see this number, it's a reminder that you are in sync with the universe and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. It is a signal that you are about to receive the rewards for your efforts, that the doors to your desires are about to open wide. The repetition of this number is like a confirmation from the universe that you are on the verge of something great, that your manifestations are not just possible, but imminent. These signs are not limited to numbers. Synchronicities can take many forms, from chance encounters with people who offer valuable insights to seemingly coincidental events that align perfectly with your desires. Perhaps you hear someone mention the very thing you've been thinking about, or you come across an article that perfectly answers a question you've been asking yourself. These moments are not random. They are the universe's way of telling you that you are in alignment with your desires. They are the breadcrumbs leading you toward your manifestation, confirming that what you are assuming is about to come into full realization. The key to understanding these synchronicities is to recognize them not as mere coincidence, but as evidence of the power of your assumptions. The more you notice these signs, the more you begin to understand that your assumptions are being mirrored back to you. The universe is not a passive observer, it is an active participant in the manifestation process. When you align your inner state with your desires, the universe begins to reflect that alignment through the events and people that show up in your life. It's important to remember that these signs are not to be sought out in desperation or doubt. They are not tools for validation, but rather reminders of the power within you. When you seek signs from the universe out of need or uncertainty, you are giving away your power. Instead, let the signs come to you naturally as a reflection of your inner state. When you are confident in your assumptions, the signs will appear effortlessly, and you will recognize them for what they truly are, a confirmation that your desires are already on their way. Another aspect to understand about these signs is that they are not meant to make you dependent on external validation. The true power lies within your own consciousness. While the signs may feel comforting, you must not fall into the trap of waiting for the universe to tell you that your desire is on its way. The signs are not the cause of your manifestation. They are simply the reflection of your inner state. The more you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the more you will begin to notice these synchronicities as they align with your reality. When you recognize the signs for what they truly are, confirmations of your inner state, you begin to operate with greater confidence and trust in the process of creation. These signs act as markers along the path of your manifestation journey, guiding you toward your ultimate goal. They are not there to give you hope or encouragement, but to remind you that you are already on the path, that your assumptions are already becoming your reality. The next time you notice a repeating number or experience a meaningful synchronicity, take a moment to acknowledge it. Do not brush it aside as coincidence. Understand that this is the universe reflecting your inner state, confirming that your assumptions are on the verge of materializing. Embrace the signs with gratitude, knowing that they are not the source of your power, but the expression of it. Let them serve as reminders that you are the creator of your reality, and the universe is responding to your every thought and feeling. When you begin to truly embody your desire, you will notice a profound shift in your emotional state. It is as if your entire being starts to vibrate at a different frequency, one that is in perfect harmony with the very thing you are trying to manifest. You may not see immediate external signs of your desires coming true, but internally you begin to experience a transformation. This shift in your emotional state is one of the most powerful signs that your manifestation is imminent. At first, this emotional shift can be subtle. You may find yourself thinking differently, feeling lighter or more confident, or simply sensing a change in your attitude towards life. It is the feeling of having already received your desire, and it permeates everything you do. Your thoughts no longer center around lack or limitation. Instead, they are focused on abundance, success, and possibility. You begin to act, think, and feel as if you are already living in the reality you have imagined. This is not a matter of pretending or faking it. It is the natural result of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The moment you start to feel the emotion of having your desire, it becomes part of your reality. You are no longer waiting for something to happen. Instead, you begin to experience the emotions associated with your desire, as if it is already present in your life. This shift in emotional state can take many forms. Perhaps you begin to feel more relaxed, as if you no longer have to struggle to achieve your goals. You may notice that your thoughts are more positive, your outlook on life more optimistic. Even in the face of challenges or setbacks, you will find that your emotional state remains grounded in a sense of certainty. This certainty is not based on external evidence, but on your internal belief that your desires are already manifesting. The key to understanding this shift is recognizing that your emotions are a direct reflection of your assumptions. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your emotional state must naturally align with that assumption. You cannot remain in a state of longing or desire if you are truly living in the end. The emotional shift you experience is the result of aligning your inner state with the fulfillment of your desire. This is why it is so important to focus on the feeling of having your desire rather than the outward circumstances. When you concentrate on the feeling of fulfillment, you align your emotions with the outcome you want to create. You are no longer caught up in the how or when of your manifestation. Instead, you trust that your desire is already on its way because you have already assumed the emotional state of someone who has received it. As your emotional state shifts, you will notice that your actions and behaviors begin to align with this new way of being. You start to take steps that feel natural rather than forced. The things you once thought were difficult or unattainable now feel easy. You may find yourself taking inspired action toward your desires, but it will no longer feel like a struggle. It will feel as though the path to your manifestation is simply unfolding in front of you, and all you have to do is walk along it with confidence and trust. This emotional shift also opens the door to new opportunities. As you align with the feeling of fulfillment, you begin to notice doors opening in your life that were previously closed. People may show up who are able to help you, or circumstances may change in ways that feel perfectly timed. This is not because you are doing anything differently on the outside, it is because you have shifted internally. The outer world reflects the changes you have made within yourself. It's important to note that this emotional shift does not mean you will be free from all negative emotions or doubts. The mind is a complex instrument, and it may try to bring up old fears or beliefs from time to time. However, when you have truly embodied the feeling of your desire, these old emotions no longer carry the same weight. They may appear, but they will not shake your certainty or your emotional state. You will find that the more you live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the less power these doubts have over you. The emotional shift also means that you stop seeking external validation. You no longer need the world to confirm that your manifestation is on its way. You trust in the process and know that it is already done. The shift in emotional state brings with it an inner peace, a calm assurance that all is well. The things you desire are already part of your experience. They are simply waiting for the right moment to appear in physical form. In the early stages of your manifestation journey, this emotional shift may feel fragile. You may have moments of doubt or uncertainty, especially if the external world has not yet reflected the changes you want to see. However, it is important to understand that your emotions are the key to maintaining the course. The more consistently you feel the emotions of having your desire, the more quickly the external world will adjust to match your inner state. As you continue to practice assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will find that your emotional state becomes more stable. You will no longer be as easily swayed by the fluctuations of the outside world. Your feelings will be anchored in the belief that your desires are already on their way. This sense of emotional certainty is the foundation upon which your manifestation will be built. Ultimately, the shift in your emotional state is a direct indication that you have aligned with your desire. It is the confirmation that your assumptions are becoming your reality. When you feel as though your wish is already fulfilled, you are no longer striving or seeking. You are simply living in the knowing that what you desire is already yours. And as you continue to live in that emotional state, the universe must respond by bringing your desires into physical form. The process of manifestation is not about waiting for the world to change. It is about changing your internal state to align with the reality you desire. One of the most transformative aspects of this journey is understanding the power of your assumptions. Your assumptions shape the way you view the world and directly influence the experiences you attract. When you begin to recognize the power of assumption, you start to realize that everything you see in your world is a reflection of the beliefs and assumptions you hold about yourself and life. At the core of manifestation lies the understanding that your external reality is not determined by what happens to you, but by what you assume is true. Your assumptions act as the blueprint for your experience. If you assume success, abundance, love, and happiness, you will begin to see these qualities manifest in your life. If you assume lack, limitation, or failure, those too will become your reality. The world responds to you not based on the external conditions or circumstances, but based on the beliefs and assumptions you hold. This means that every thought you think, every feeling you experience is actively shaping the reality you live in. Your assumptions about yourself, your life, and your desires are being reflected back to you through your experiences. This is why it is so important to take control of your assumptions and consciously shape them to match the desires you wish to manifest. When you begin to focus on the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you create a new assumption. You no longer assume that your desires are out of reach or that they are unattainable. Instead, you begin to assume that your desires are already a part of your reality. You live in the feeling of the end result, as though your wish has already been fulfilled. This shift in assumption changes everything because your outer world must adjust to match your new internal state. Living in the assumption of your wish fulfilled means that you no longer look at your current circumstances as evidence of your future. You stop focusing on the things that appear to be lacking or delayed. Instead, you focus on the feeling of having what you desire right now. The moment you assume that your desire is already here, you are no longer waiting for the world to change. You are living as though it already has. This assumption sets the law of attraction into motion and begins to bring forth the conditions that reflect this new inner state. The power of assumption can be seen in many areas of life. Take, for example, your financial situation. If you assume that money is scarce, that there is never enough to go around, then that is the reality you will experience. However, if you begin to assume abundance, if you start to feel the emotional state of already having plenty of money, then the world will begin to reflect this abundance back to you. Your financial circumstances will start to shift as your inner assumption of abundance becomes your dominant belief. The same applies to all areas of life. If you assume that love is something you must seek outside of yourself, you will continue to find yourself searching for it in vain. But when you assume that love is already yours, when you live in the feeling of being loved and cherished, the world around you will reflect that assumption. People will begin to treat you with love and kindness because you are embodying the very thing you desire. You no longer have to chase after love or success because your assumption has already set the stage for those things to flow naturally into your life. What often happens, however, is that the mind is conditioned to look at the external world as proof of what is possible. The world will often reflect back the exact opposite of what you desire, and this is where many people get stuck. They look at their current situation and assume that it reflects what is truly possible for them. If you are not careful, you may begin to feel that your external circumstances define your potential. But the truth is, your external circumstances are merely a reflection of past assumptions. They are not an indication of your future. When you shift your assumptions, the world around you will shift as well. It may take time for the external world to catch up with your inner state, but the more you live in the assumption that your desires are already a part of your reality, the more quickly they will manifest. The key is consistency. Living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled day after day, regardless of what the external world shows you. This is how you begin to create your own reality. It is important to recognize that your assumptions do not have to be based on external evidence. In fact, it is often necessary to assume things that are not yet visible in the physical world. The outer world will always reflect the assumptions you hold, but it does not dictate them. You have the power to create new assumptions that reflect the reality you wish to experience. For instance, if you are facing a difficult situation, you may feel the urge to assume that things will never improve. Your current reality may seem to confirm this belief. However, in this moment, you have the opportunity to change your assumption. You can begin to assume that things are improving, that solutions are already on their way, and that your circumstances are shifting to reflect your desired outcome. The moment you adopt this new assumption, you begin to create the conditions for it to manifest in your life. It is essential to trust in the process of assumption. The moment you choose a new assumption, you activate the law of attraction, and the universe begins to rearrange itself to reflect that assumption. But you must remain patient, knowing that the outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world, and that it will take time for your new assumptions to manifest in physical form. In summary, the key to unlocking the full power of manifestation is understanding the role of your assumption. Your assumptions are not just thoughts, they are the building blocks of your reality. When you align your assumptions with your desires, you are setting the stage for those desires to appear in your life. You must begin to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, live in the state of your desire, and trust that the world will reflect this inner shift. The more consistently you live in this state, the more quickly your external reality will shift to match your assumption. When you align yourself with the feeling of already having your desire, there is an inevitable transformation that takes place, not just in the way you think, but in the way you experience life. The idea is not just about thinking positive thoughts or wishing for something to happen. It's about embodying the state of having your desire fulfilled so deeply that you begin to live from that place. In this state, you no longer wait for your desires to manifest. You live as though they already have. This shift is one of the most powerful aspects of manifestation, as it is the foundation that shapes everything else in your life. Living from the end is a powerful concept, and it is rooted in the understanding that everything begins and ends in the mind. When you are truly aligned with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you begin to embody that state in every aspect of your being. You act, think, and feel as though you are already living the life you desire. The key here is not simply to imagine the outcome you desire, but to fully immerse yourself in the experience of it. The emotions that accompany the fulfillment of your desires are the true power behind the process of manifestation. When you fully adopt this mindset, you begin to notice that your external world begins to shift, not because of any outward action on your part, but because you are now living in alignment with your desire. You are no longer waiting for something to change outside of you. Instead, you are aligning yourself with the state in which your desire is already a reality. Your thoughts, your actions, and even your conversations start to reflect this new state. You no longer react to circumstances as if they are obstacles. Instead, you see them as opportunities that will lead you to the fulfillment of your desires. The emotional state that comes with living from the end is not one of stress or struggle. It is a state of peace, trust, and certainty. When you begin to live as if your desires are already fulfilled, you free yourself from the anxiety and uncertainty that often comes with the pursuit of goals. This emotional state is vital because it is what creates the space for your desires to flow into your life naturally. When you are in the feeling of having what you desire, you are not chasing after it. You are not desperate for it. Instead, you are simply living in the knowing that it is already yours. This state of inner certainty and peace is magnetic. It draws the experiences, people, and opportunities that align with your desires toward you effortlessly. This approach requires a shift in how you view time. When you live from the end, you stop measuring time in the conventional way. You no longer wait for a future moment to bring you your desires. Instead, you bring that future moment into the present. The moment you embody the feeling of already having your wish fulfilled, you collapse time. The future you are waiting for is no longer something that lies ahead of you. It is now a reality, here and now. This is where the magic happens. When you stop focusing on the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you begin to experience your desire as already present. One of the most profound aspects of living from the end is the realization that your current circumstances do not define your future. It is easy to look at the current state of your life and assume that it is a reflection of what is possible for you. But this could not be further from the truth. Your present circumstances are simply a reflection of past assumptions. They are not the final word on what you can create. By living in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, you are stepping into a future that has not yet manifested in physical form, but is already alive in your imagination and in your emotion. As you continue to live from the end, you will notice that the circumstances around you begin to shift. People, events, and opportunities that align with your desire will begin to show up. The world will rearrange itself in response to your new inner state. You will begin to see the evidence of your desires manifesting in ways that were once unimaginable. This is not because you are working harder or trying to force things to happen. It is because your internal state has shifted, and the outer world must reflect that shift. It is a law of nature, as within, so without. Living from the end also involves trusting the process, which is where many people encounter challenges. We are often conditioned to look for proof of our desires in the external world before we believe them to be real. However, this approach can lead to frustration, as the external world may not immediately reflect the inner state you are cultivating. The key is to trust that the universe is always working in your favor, even when you don't see immediate results. Trust that every thought, every assumption, every feeling you cultivate is actively shaping your reality. It may not always appear the way you expect it to, but it is always unfolding according to the laws of the mind. When you begin to live from the end, you must also be willing to let go of the need to control how your desires manifest. There is a deep sense of surrender that comes with truly embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You no longer feel the need to figure out how things will happen or to orchestrate every detail. You trust that the universe will bring everything into alignment, and that your only job is to remain in the feeling of your desires being already fulfilled. When you do this, the universe responds by presenting you with the most seamless and effortless path toward your goal. This shift in perspective also impacts your relationship with others. When you live in the feeling of already having your desire, you stop seeking approval or validation from others. You no longer look outside yourself for evidence that you are on the right track. Instead, you trust your own feelings and your own internal state. Your relationships will begin to reflect this inner confidence, as people are drawn to your sense of self-assuredness and peace. You will no longer chase after validation from others, because you are already living in the state of knowing that your desires are fulfilled. Living from the end is the key to effortless manifestation. It is not about trying to make things happen, but about aligning with the state of already having what you desire. When you embody this state, you move into a flow where everything seems to fall into place with ease. The more you live from the end, the more your desires will unfold naturally and harmoniously. The key is in assuming the feeling of fulfillment, living in that state, and trusting that the world around you will begin to reflect it back to you. When you master this art of living from the end, you will find that you no longer have to chase after your desires, they will come to you. The moment you begin to embrace the power of your imagination, you unlock a doorway to a reality that is shaped not by external circumstances, but by the internal world of your mind. Your imagination is not just a tool for dreaming or creating stories in your mind. It is the very mechanism through which your desires are brought to life. In fact, the imagination is the key to manifestation, because it is the creative force behind everything you experience. It is in your imagination that the seeds of your desires are planted, nourished, and brought to fruition. At the heart of this process is the understanding that the world you see around you is a reflection of your inner world. Everything in your reality, whether it be the people you interact with, the opportunities you encounter, or the circumstances you face, is an expression of the assumptions you hold about yourself and the world. Your imagination acts as the bridge between your internal assumptions and your external reality. By imagining and feeling the reality you desire, you are planting the seeds that will eventually grow into your manifested desires. The first step in using your imagination to manifest your desires is to recognize that your imagination is not separate from you. It is an integral part of your being and has the power to create the world you live in. When you begin to use your imagination deliberately, you are essentially taking control of your life. You are no longer at the mercy of external events, but instead you are actively shaping the reality you wish to experience. To harness the power of your imagination, you must first learn to detach from the idea that the world outside of you determines your future. The common misconception is that we are bound by the circumstances we find ourselves in. But this is not true. The world outside of you is simply a reflection of what you believe to be true. Your current reality is a result of your past thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. By changing the way you think and feel, you change the reflection you see in the world around you. This is where the power of imagination becomes truly transformative. When you imagine the fulfillment of your desires, you are not merely daydreaming or wishing. You are living in the experience of that desire as though it has already happened. The feeling you evoke through your imagination is the key to manifesting your desires into the physical world. You must feel the emotions of having what you want as though it is already yours. The more vividly you can imagine this experience, the more powerful your manifestation will be. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you must imagine yourself already living in a state of abundance. See yourself enjoying the fruits of your success. Feel the emotions of freedom and security that come with financial prosperity. You are not imagining it as a future event that will happen one day. You are living in the feeling of it now, as though it is happening right in this moment. This feeling is what shifts your vibration and aligns your inner world with the outer world you want to create. The process of imagining your desires requires full immersion. It is not enough to simply think about what you want. You must step into the experience as if it is already real. Your mind cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. When you vividly imagine a scene in which your desire is fulfilled, your subconscious mind accepts that as reality and begins to bring that image into physical manifestation. This is why the imagination is such a powerful tool. It bypasses the limitations of your conscious mind and taps directly into the subconscious, where all creation begins. The key to successful manifestation through imagination is to hold a feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is where most people go wrong. They might imagine their desire for a few moments, but when they do not immediately see results in their external reality, they begin to doubt the process. Doubt is the opposite of belief, and it is the belief in your desire that will bring it into being. When you imagine your desire and feel the emotions associated with it, you must also remain steadfast in your belief that it is already on its way. Do not let external circumstances cause you to question the reality of what you have imagined. Trust that the moment you have truly felt the reality of your desire, it is already in motion, even if you cannot yet see it. Imagination does not work in isolation. It is deeply connected to your emotions, beliefs, and assumptions. If you are imagining something that feels unnatural or unrealistic, it will not have the same power as imagining something that feels natural and true to you. Your imagination should not be a tool for escaping reality, but rather a tool for creating the reality you desire. It should feel real and possible to you. This is why it is so important to cultivate a sense of belief in your imagination. The more you believe in the power of your imagination, the more effectively you can use it to shape your reality. Imagination also requires consistency. This is not a one-time exercise, it is a way of living. Every day you must continue to imagine and feel your desires as though they are already fulfilled. The more you consistently live in this state, the more the external world will begin to reflect it. Manifestation is not about forcing something to happen. It is about becoming so deeply immersed in the feeling of already having what you desire that it becomes inevitable. When you truly embody the state of your desire, the universe has no choice but to reflect that state back to you. The key is to make your imagination as vivid and real as possible. The more sensory details you can incorporate into your imagination, the stronger the experience will be. Imagine the sounds, the smells, the sights, and the emotions that accompany the fulfillment of your desire. The more you immerse yourself in this experience, the more you align with the energy of your desire. As you do this, you will begin to see the signs that your desire is being realized in the physical world. Opportunities will present themselves, people will show up, and situations will unfold that align with your imagined reality. The beauty of imagination is that it is limitless. You are only restricted by the beliefs you hold about what is possible for you. When you begin to imagine freely and without limitation, you break free from the constraints of your current circumstances. Your imagination is the gateway to a new reality. The moment you begin to truly believe that your imagination is the key to creating your life, you open the door to infinite possibilities. Your imagination is not just a mental exercise. It is the very force that shapes your external world. When you harness its power, you begin to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires. Your thoughts are not just fleeting ideas that pass through your mind. They are the foundation upon which your entire experience is built. Every thought, whether conscious or subconscious, plays a vital role in shaping the reality you live in. The world around you reflects the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs you hold within. If you want to change the external circumstances of your life, the first step is to change the way you think. This is the most powerful and transformative step you can take because it is through your thoughts that everything in your world is created. The nature of your thoughts determines the nature of your experiences. When you think about a particular situation or goal, you create a mental image of that situation, and it is this mental image that becomes the blueprint for your future experiences. The key to manifestation is understanding that every thought you think, whether positive or negative, is a seed that is being planted in the garden of your subconscious mind. The more consistently you hold a thought, the more likely it is to grow and manifest into your physical reality. Your thoughts are not just abstract concepts. They are living energy that forms the foundation of your world. The first step in consciously creating the life you desire is to recognize the power that your thoughts have. Most people are unaware of the extent to which their thoughts influence their reality. They think that circumstances are dictated by external forces, that life is something that happens to them, not realizing that it is the nature of their thinking that shapes their experiences. When you take responsibility for your thoughts, you take responsibility for your reality. This realization is the key to unlocking the true power within you. When you begin to observe your thoughts more closely, you may find that you have been holding on to certain beliefs and patterns of thinking that do not align with the life you want to create. These beliefs and thoughts may have been ingrained in you over time by your upbringing, society, or past experiences. But the good news is that your thoughts are not fixed. They can be changed. The moment you become aware of the thoughts that are limiting you, you can begin to replace them with thoughts that align with your desires. One of the most powerful tools you can use to shift your thoughts is the practice of mindfulness. By becoming more aware of your thoughts in the present moment, you gain the ability to choose the thoughts that support your goals. Rather than letting your mind run on autopilot, you take control of your thinking. This is not about suppressing negative thoughts or forcing yourself to think positive thoughts, but rather about consciously choosing thoughts that empower you. When you observe a thought that does not serve your desired reality, simply acknowledge it without judgment and replace it with a thought that aligns with the outcome you want to manifest. This process of thought substitution is not about denying reality, but about choosing to focus on what you want. For example, if you are seeking financial abundance, instead of focusing on thoughts of lack, scarcity, or struggle, you choose to focus on thoughts of abundance, prosperity, and wealth. You imagine what it would feel like to have the financial freedom you desire. You visualize yourself enjoying the fruits of your success, feeling the emotions of security and joy. By focusing on these thoughts, you create a new mental image in your mind, one that reflects the reality you wish to experience. The key to this process is repetition. Thoughts, like habits, become ingrained in the subconscious mind through consistent repetition. Just as you might train your body through regular exercise, you must train your mind by regularly thinking thoughts that align with your desired reality. The more you think thoughts of abundance, success, love, or health, the more they begin to take root in your subconscious mind. Over time, these thoughts will start to manifest in your external world. It is important to note that your thoughts are not limited to just what you consciously think about. Your subconscious mind is constantly working, even when you are not aware of it. Your subconscious mind is where your deepest beliefs, memories, and emotions are stored. It is also where your assumptions about life are formed. If you have deep-seated beliefs about not being good enough, not deserving success, or not being worthy of love, these beliefs will influence the thoughts that arise in your conscious mind. Therefore, it is crucial to also work on reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with your desires. One effective way to reprogram your subconscious mind is through visualization. By vividly imagining the fulfillment of your desires, you send a powerful message to your subconscious mind that what you are visualizing is already a part of your reality. The more you practice this, the more your subconscious mind begins to accept this new reality as true. Over time, your beliefs and assumptions will shift, and your thoughts will automatically align with your desires. Affirmations are another powerful tool to help shift your thoughts and beliefs. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly. When you affirm that you are successful, wealthy, healthy, or loved, you are planting seeds in your subconscious mind that will eventually manifest in your life. The repetition of affirmations helps to rewrite the narrative you hold about yourself and your life, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. It is essential to believe in the power of your thoughts. When you truly understand that your thoughts are the building blocks of your reality, you begin to take them more seriously. You realize that every thought you think is contributing to the life you are creating. When you start to think thoughts that are in alignment with your desires, you begin to attract experiences that reflect those thoughts. You create an energetic match between your thoughts and your external reality, which leads to the manifestation of your desires. This process is not about instant gratification, but about developing a new way of thinking and living. It takes time for the subconscious mind to fully integrate new beliefs, but the more consistently you focus on positive, empowering thoughts, the faster the manifestation process becomes. As your thoughts shift, your external world will begin to change to reflect the new reality you are creating. Opportunities will appear, people will show up, and circumstances will align with the new thoughts you are thinking. Ultimately, the power of your thoughts is what creates the life you live. When you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your destiny. You are no longer a passive observer of your circumstances, but an active creator of your reality. By choosing thoughts that align with your desires and consistently focusing on them, you begin to transform your life from the inside out. Your thoughts are the key to unlocking the reality you want to experience.